should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What's happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and this next guest is a guy you can see all this weekend at Side Splitters Comedy Club here in Tampa Bay. On the phone line is the very funny comedian known as Carl Rimi. He is on Hoppe Hour. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, dude. I was watching some of your work this week. What I like about you, dude, you have a very laid-back attitude. Like, you love every second of your job, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't take myself very seriously. I take my comedy very seriously, but I don't take myself very seriously, you know? So, you know, we'll have fun. Man, I like to fuck around with the audience. Can we curse on this?
You can say whatever the fuck you want, bro.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I probably should ask that before I said fuck, right? I like to play with the audience. I want them to have a good time too, you know?
Now, when you have fun with the audience, do you like to interact with them? Do you like to mingle, or do you get a bit mean at times?
Yeah, no, I like to play around. If we got colorful characters, I like to talk to them, you know?
What is the key to looking at the crowd and knowing if it's someone that's worth talking to, you know? Do you try to read them?
Oh, yeah, I can read people real good. I mean, I've been in the business for 19 years, so it's kind of like you tend to be able to read people. That works in everyday life, too, man. Be in the grocery store and be like, yeah, this lady's an asshole in front of me.
How do you do that? How do you read people? Because I'm trying to be more observant and more of a guy that looks at things. So how do you observe people? What's the go-to move, Carl?
Well, everything is body contact, eye contact, just the way they posture themselves. You know, you can always tell if there's somebody just doesn't even want to be there. It's not rocket science. I think you said that earlier. It
seems like you like to have fun in life. So what made you want to go into comedy? Because you're a guy that's very observant.
Well, I mean, I quit college, and this was like back in the 90s. And my friend was going to do, and I was doing some promotional stuff and some modeling back then. Sounds pretty gay, but my friend was going to, so I was doing some modeling and doing some runway work. I thought, I don't want it to be just a piece of meat, you know? No, my friend backed out of an open mic one night. I'm like, dude, I'll write a couple minutes and go up there and do it, you know, because he got scared. So I was like, you know, I'll give it a shot. And then I got up and then I got hooked, you know. And then back in the 90s, it was tough, man. These comics got it so easy nowadays because there's venues everywhere and they got the internet, you know. Like we had to literally go through like bookstore, go up and ask bookstores if we could go up, do some time in their little cafeteria area. You know, it was weird back in the 90s.
But don't you think it's hard for them now because there's so many open mics that it's hard to be noticed?
I mean, I guess that's twofold. You know, it's easier to go up. It's easier to see if you to know how to be a comic nowadays. Like back in my days, we didn't know how to be a comic. You know, it wasn't that easy. You know, there wasn't that many rooms, so it makes it easier for them. But you know, the business weeds itself out. There's always going to be a ton of shitty comics going up every week, putting on their Facebook, going, "I'm a work set comedian."
Yeah, right.
but they still got to go to Home Depot the next morning.
Why do people
works at Home Depot? You know.
Yeah, it's weird when it's the same thing with people that say they work in radio, but they have an internet radio show. Like, I hate that term. What I do is an online podcast. It's an online show. I hate when these people that you'll see, let's say, send out some tweets and you'll see who they are. And it's like, I host an online internet radio show. It's like, dude, quit overcompensating. You host an online show, man.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know, people want to be bigger than they really are, you know?
How often does that make you mad or, let's say, annoyed when you see these comics that try to overcompensate? And it's like, come on, man, we know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, of course it does. But I don't really get that bothered by it. But it is a little annoying, like because I'm an actor now as well. So I'll go to like a casting or something, and I'll talk to other actors, and they'll be like, "So, what do you do, for another job?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a stand-up comic." And they're like, "Oh, I do stand-up comedy." "Oh yeah, do you? You're a stand-up comic? You did an open mic 3 years ago?" And then they're like, "Yeah, I do stand-up comedy." That's really irritating.
Yeah, what I hate too is when you go to these open mics and you see the comics put in their hard work, they're trying so hard, and then the audience is just talking over them. "Can I have another beer?" And you're like, come on, they're trying to do their art form,
Yeah, I hear you. What's even worse is those if you're like one of those band singers in those small little fucking huts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nobody pays attention to you. So I don't feel so bad when I see stuff, entertainers like that. They have to struggle way more. So I get a shitty night once in a while. They have to deal with that every night,
Now,
it's not so bad. There's always greener grass,
when was your big break when you went from being an open mic comic to a guy that was doing some shows? What is the one show that you can think of where you began to explode?
Well, no, I haven't exploded yet. Hopefully with some of these movies, which I'll discuss if you want in a little bit, that are coming out, will help me get to that next level. But it wasn't something that exploded. I did this thing for Carnival back about 15 years ago, and then I got on the boats. So I started doing Carnival Cruise Lines for 10. I did that for 10 years. So that kind of made me a steady working comic.
And I'm looking at your IMDb page, dude. You have a lot of things that you're working on, pre-production, completed. What are some of the things that you have coming out that you're very proud of?
Okay, I got one that's was actually 3 are coming out this year. The first one is a romantic comedy where I have a strong supporting role in. It's called Love and Hostages. You can see the trailer on YouTube. I'm in that trailer. And I got another one I got a small part in, but it's a funny role in a movie called Smothered by Mothers. It was shot down here in Naples, actually, by the great Kurt Weickert Media was produced by. And then another movie I shot is a horror movie called Adopted, which is actually in post-production right now. And it'll be out later on this year. It's actually in post-production in L.A. right now. It's a horror drama. So that's going to be pretty intense. And then I guess I'll keep going because I got films for next year. And later on this year, I got 2 that I'm signed on to do. One called Sports Fan Chronicles, and the sequel to that, Sports and Riches, which we'll be shooting in Chicago.
How do you not burn out, dude? I'm so happy and impressed with everything you're doing, but when you're naming off everything, I'm getting overwhelmed myself. So how did you make sure that you could get it all done without burning out?
Well, it's not a bitch. I mean, it's a blessing to have trust me, to have these many films. They're independent films, but they're big productions.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a blessing. There's no burnout. It's like you keep going. It's like the thing that's tough though about doing some of these roles, like I just did when I did the Adopted role. It was just straight up. It was about 10 days on set, just 15-hour days of just pure drama and intense scenes. And then 2 days later, I had a gig. After we wrapped, I had a gig all week, and it took me literally 2 days to get out of character. It was so rough on stage. Those 2, I just didn't feel funny. I was just saying my jokes. It was awkward.
What are some of the weirdest characters that you have played so far?
Nothing really weird. They're all pretty much normal people, and then I just put my spin on them. The Adopted was a fireman. I played, that was probably the weirdest because it is a horror movie. So, I play a fireman, and my wife, we adopt a Haitian child.
Yeah.
Because of the earthquakes in Haiti. We want to, she wants to try and save the world. I'm kind of against it. My dad's already a racist. And, so we adopt her, we bring her home. I'm not there one day. My dad comes home, finds her in there. I come out. And she says that he touched her, and I don't know who to believe, my dad or my new daughter. of 6 months. So we go through this whole thing, and then her family that died in the earthquake start haunting the house.
Dude, how do you get approached about this movie? To me, if this were to come out, this would be a hit, dude. A lot of the movies that are out now are just reruns of themselves. How do you get approached about a really cool movie like this?
Yeah, well, I just auditioned through. I got this role on Backstage, and I sent in a tape, and the director, Adrian Jules, who's out in L.A., he's actually a pretty well-known actor out there, was his first directorial debut, and he wrote the movie, brought his crew out from L.A., and we shot it all here, and now they're doing post, so they're getting like a lot of exterior shots in L.A., and so it's going to be so I'll see the movie and be like, wow, I can't believe I stayed at that house,
What's the big plan for you? Do you want to have a show like, let's say, Louie or Curb? Do you want to be in movies? How do you want to see your acting go out?
Well, I want to have both. I'm actually working on a web series right now myself and a few other people, myself and Stacey Steele, who's my co-writer and producer and director on it. And it's about these group of horrible actors that work in their coffee shops like the gym. So it kind of intertwines gym stuff with horrible acting shit. So you can see a couple episodes we shot a year or two ago, and that was just the beginning episodes. Now we're revamping it up with a different DP and whatnot. So we're going to have it stronger, and then we're going to pitch it.
Now,
and then, yes.
What's it like when you try to pitch a show? There's so many people out there that want to go into acting and want to go into comedy. How do you make your work seem different than other work?
You make it funny. You make it originally funny, because the shit that's out there now, I'm not saying everything, but there's a lot of bad stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I know what's funny. What's funny to me, I'm going to put on screen, So I want to take my spin on what I think is funny and put that on screen, what I have learned about being on screen, and mix the two. Because these two roles that are coming up, they're both comedies too. I love shooting comedies, but I also love shooting dramas. This is going to probably blow your mind. Maurice Javon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, his Purgatorious movie.
Yeah.
I'm slated to be the lead in his.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I didn't mention that yet.
Wow, man. Mo is my guy. I love Mo. He's one of my favorite dudes in this town. Mo's the man.
We were talking, and, I've been an actor for a few years now, and he's like, I'm going to send you the script. And I read the script, and it was probably the most amazing thing I have ever read.
What was so amazing about it? Because if you listen to Mo on the air, it's just like his writing. He's so well-spoken and smart,
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I got the first script from him, and then I thought it was the most amazing thing I read, and then he rewrote it, to adapt it to a feature film, and to give it a better, out layout for the feature film. And he rewrote it, and it was even better. And I couldn't believe he could have done that. And I was like, man, I got to be a part of this. So we're going to talk this week and figure things out. So hopefully I'll be actually slated as the lead,
Now, what's it like when guys like Mo or other people that see your work approach you about being in a movie or a film or an online series? How flattering is that?
Oh, you have no idea. Well, I actually got these next two movies coming up through a small part I did in Smothered by Mothers. The writer, Kurt Weickert, I mentioned, is a big fan of comedy, and he came and saw my act. And he's like, wow, you're right up there with the best of them, He's like, and I was, because I've been lost on cruise ships for 10 years. Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
So, that's a negative right there. So I got to rebuild my brand, So I've been doing that for the past 4 years. So, but he saw that and then pretty much signed me on for the next two movies, which you'll see on my IMDb. They'll have Sports Panda Chronicles. I think it says Sports and Riches on there, but you got to dig a little deeper if it says optioned.
Who are some people that made you want to go into acting and comedy? Because you seem like a very well-versed guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, comedy-wise, I don't know. It's just something once I started doing it. You always think, well, I'm funny. I just don't know how to present that. And then you do it, and then you start getting better at it. You write a few jokes that are your own, your own style, and then you morph into your own person. I've only been acting right now for the past 4 years, so I started that when I got off the ships. That's always what I want to do. I've always wanted to do that since I was a little kid, but I never really pursued it.
Did you want to be one when you were a teen? Like, would you try to be in local plays, or is this your first time acting these past 4 years?
No, it's pretty much the first time acting. I did it back when in the 90s when I was younger.
Yeah.
I didn't take it seriously, You got to really, if you want to take this business, if you want to be in this business, you got to take it seriously. You got to get up every day. Like, I just finished an audition this morning for a war movie that's being shot all over the United Vietnam movie for a lieutenant, which I got asked to audition for. So hopefully I'll hear back from them. You never know. You do 10 of them. Hopefully you maybe get one.
Now, when you're doing these, pieces and these movies where you're trying to be a guy in a time period that you didn't live in, what is the key to being the person when you feel like you lived in it, Like, if you're going to be in this movie about the war from, let's say, 40 years ago, how are you going to be mentally ready to be a character for that,
Right, exactly. Basically, because I've done all my research watching movies my whole life.
That's true.
Like, it's not that difficult when you think, oh, wow, I watched Platoon, every war movie I've ever watched, and just, and then put a little piece of me into it, and then you got your character,
Now,
it's really not that difficult. I mean, people say, acting's really, this and that, and it is difficult in the moment, in the character. When the camera's on, you have to be in the moment at that time, but to get your mindset for it, I don't think it's that difficult.
How do you keep the lines in your head, dude? I can barely remember my list of things I have to do for today. So how do you memorize all these lines, dude?
Well, all you do is you memorize the lines. You get the lines down. And then when you get on set, it's a lot easier because you have all the situations around you. So now you're reacting from another person. You just listen to what they say, and then you do you react off it. You talk as if you were talking to somebody else, Like, if they ask you a question, you know that your answer is going to be whatever the dialogue was in question form,
How many takes does a scene take usually? Like, is it 9 or 10, 1 or 2? How many takes is an average scene?
Yeah, it depends on the director. Some directors want to go 20 times, let's get it a gun. Let's go. Or some directors, hey, we got to get this in 2 shots, which means you better have your dialogue down because we got to move, for time. Me personally, I'll take as many as you want. Like, let's go again. I don't think that was good enough. Let's do it again. I'm a perfectionist,
I like that, dude. You have a lot of energy, man. You seem like a guy that loves every second of what you do,
Yes. Yeah, you have no idea. It's blessed to be doing what I'm doing.
Where do you think you'll be in like 5 years? Do you want to be in major motion pics? Do you want to be here in Tampa? Where do you want to see yourself play out?
To be honest, I just want to be a working actor and stand-up comedian, like getting booked in nice rooms, pretty well known, so I can draw people to the club, But in major motion pictures, yeah, of course, who doesn't want to be in a major motion picture? But I'll tell you what, these indie films are where it's at right now. I feel like in my mind, because they give you the freedom to perfect your craft. Like, you can get on a set and not feel so closed in if you got like celebrities on set. Like, I just worked with Eric Roberts and Robert Lustardo.
Nice.
Yeah, we're shooting a film called Henry right now, which is we're sporadically shooting it around everybody's schedule. So it's an indie film as well. I play a redneck.
Yeah. How's that, playing a redneck? What's that like?
I don't know. Just putting that. I play like a redneck. I don't talk much in my scene, but I do. I have a fight scene and stuff.
Yeah.
We're kind of. I have 2 brothers in it. They're the ones that are yip yapping the whole time. I'm just kind of like a dumb redneck. It's actually kind of comical. It's not a comedy, but it's actually kind of comical.
So now, where can people find all your work? Because you're a jack of all trades. You do comedy, you do acting, you do web series. So where should they check out your work?
Well, a lot of stuff, like I said, hasn't really come out yet. It's going to be out shortly. So, just go to IMDb. The trailers are on YouTube if you want to check out the movies that are coming out or I'm in. There's only a couple trailers out that I'm in right now that are on YouTube, but the upcoming projects will be coming out shortly. Or you can go on Rooftop Comedy. I got comedy on there. Or you can just come out to a live show.
Why should people come and see you this weekend at Side Splitters? What are you going to be talking about there?
Man, it's just gonna be stupid. It's not gonna be political. If you like political comedy, then don't come out, because I'm not gonna remind everybody how shitty this country is doing right now. You know, you're gonna come out. I'm talking about titties. I'm talking about picking up girls.
How do you pick up girls, Carl? What's your go-to move?
It's my go-to move. You ready?
Yeah.
After the show, I'll be like, "Hey, did you see the show?" And if they're like, "No," I'm like, "All right, see ya." That's my go-to move.
How have you done over the years with the women being a comedian, where it's all about you for an hour?
Well, I told you I worked on cruise ships for 10 years, right?
Well, that's pretty good then.
Yeah.
You have a whole decade of getting laid then.
Yeah, you can deduct your...
I feel like you're a very humble guy. I feel like you are sort of bragging without bragging. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm by no means bragging. I got a lot of work to do. Trust me. But, I'm just happy to be in the situation I'm in right now, you know?
People can go see you this weekend at Side Splitters Comedy Club in Tampa Bay. It's 12938 North Dale Mabry Highway. That's 12938 North Dale Mabry Highway. Call them at 813-960-1197. It's 813-960-1197. And the website is sidesplitterscomedy.com. Well, Carl, I know you're going to kick ass this weekend. I might try to come out to a show this weekend if I'm not working. Dude, okay. I love what you bring, man. You just are so humble and so laid back that it's refreshing, because a lot of comics can get cocky, but I love what you do, man.
No, I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good. Keep up the good work, Carl.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, bye.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.